Hey there, I'm a glue stick, so I have one job. I glue kid stuff. So sorry for being jealous of Geico, who does a ton more, like give you 24/7 access to thousands of licensed agents. And Geico has been around for over 75 years and has a 97% customer satisfaction rating. While I've just got mediocre adhesive skills, Geico also has an award-winning mobile app. Uh-oh, arts and crafts time. No eating the glue stick, Miss Lydia!
Geico. Expect great savings and a whole lot more.
And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head the deck. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood.
Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Now give me your boom.
He makes me call him Jalen versus everybody.
He makes me call him Jacoby when his real name is David. What up, though?
We're Jalen Jacoby. What do we do?
We get the people!
You okay? You okay? Is Jalen okay?
What they want.
Impressive. Impressive, Jalen Rose.
Let's
bring
get
the
it.
energy today. Jalen Rose, we always give the podcast listeners some exclusive podcast content. Today we've got a very, very good television show scheduled for you and stacked. I've done a lot of work and research, and so has the staff. Jalen has done zero. But one thing we didn't put in the show is all the rumors and trade deadline stuff, because I like to talk about things when they're real, not just rumors. But I do want to go through some of these with you, Jalen.
Let's get it.
The Rockets are gauging league-wide interest in Ryan Anderson and his contract. What is the problem with moving Ryan Anderson?
The problem isn't the fact that when you look at individuals who not only make the three, but from extended distance, Ryan Anderson, Eric Gordon, other two teammates, the Splash Brothers, they're making 25 to 27-foot threes. So it's not about that. And he's able to mix up his game, including against the Cavaliers where he did the pump fake, went down the lane and dunked with two hands. It's the number that he's getting per year. When you're paying him $15 to $18 million to be a spot-up three-point shooter, what ends up happening when you're trying to trade with the Knicks, for example, they're like, we'll deal with you, but we don't want to take on that contract that still has multiple years left remaining on it.
I think one of the problems with him, too, is defensively. Like, if you look at, like, a stretch, like a Porzingis, you know, who can hit the three and block shots around the basket, it just gets tricky when you've got Ryan Anderson. We saw him. He can get kind of exposed in the playoffs, especially on the defensive end. And it's really the number. Like, I think he's making something like up in the upper teens or $20 million a year. It's just a lot. I don't think they're going to be able to move him. But someone who is definitely not going to stay with their current team is Marcus Smart. There are teams that are looking for Marcus Smart's talent and his defensive tenacity, and Denver is one of those teams. Denver's won a few games in a row recently. Do you think that they could potentially move Moutier for Smart?
I have a couple of notes while you and the amazing staff put together this terrific rundown. After you go through line by line some of the individuals that may get moved, please allow me to chime in about those that you don't mention. And what reminded me of that is you mentioned Marcus Smart. The Boston Celtics have elevated themselves into a problem that each team wants. When you draft players, they outperform their draft position, but more importantly, they create value. So look at the Boston Celtics backcourt. You have an all-NBA performer in Kyrie Irving. They just lost Avery Bradley, who's on the second team in 2 years.
Yep.
Yet Rozier has improved. Had a triple-double the first game that Kyrie was out, 30 in the next game, and hit a big three late in the third game.
He plays confident.
Has really evolved and matured his game. So now you have Marcus Smart. You know you're going to get back Gordon Hayward next year. That's a lot of bodies to play the backcourt position. So therefore, when you hear rumors about them adding Tyreke Evans or moving Marcus Smart, the goal is now going to be, in my opinion, to try to get some help up front.
Yep.
But you're only hearing about them trying to get help on the perimeter.
I believe there was some rumors about them potentially picking up DeAndre, but that kind of went away. I did hear something about them trying to get bigger up front, but I can't remember exactly why. But that's what they need to do because there's only so much Aaron Baines I can take. And in a playoff, it's great in the regular season. And he's a great basketball player. He's certainly better than I am. But Aaron Baines is not going to – I don't think he's going to be on the floor when the confetti comes down from the rafters if they're going to win a championship. That's all I have to say about that.
Well, he's going to be on the floor, but so are the security and the other members of the losing team. Not because he finished the game on the court.
Now, there's also a guy who's one of my guys. We always talk about who your guys are in the NBA. You know, you got certain guys that you like.
Let me just throw this out there real quick. I feel like I got to start owning this a little more because a few players kind of became superstars.
That's what happens.
People forgot we were screaming, Boogie! Before he was averaging 25 and 13. And I could go down the line of other players. Did you see my guy Zach LaVine last night?
I did see your guy Zach LaVine. I don't really know who Jakar Noir is that he dunked on, but I'll tell you what, that looked good. That looked really good. He dunked all over Jakar Noir.
And here's the thing about Zach LaVine that I love. Don't sleep. Usually when somebody gets dunked on with ferocity, it's because the individual jumped off of 2 feet. He'll bang on you off 1.
Yep.
He put them all in the hoop and had over 20-plus points. But please go back to your professional rundown.
I like that as well. Back to the professional rundown. One of my guys is being discussed, and he's on the Jazz, a team that's been winning lately. Rodney Hood. I've always liked Rodney Hood. I've always liked Rodney Hood. He can shoot the 3. He can play defense. He can slash. He's just a little skinny for his position, but the Thunder, the Bulls, and the Pistons are all interested in him. I think that the Thunder and the Pistons would be interesting destinations for him. I don't know what kind of assets they could package together to bring him in, but it wouldn't cost you that much. Do you think you see him moving to either one of those teams?
I can see him moving to either one of those teams. When you look at the landscape of the league for this season, he would look really good running with the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yep.
But if I had to project what would be an upside opportunity for him long term in Detroit, a left-handed number 5 gets a chance to run with Blake Griffin as well as Andre Drummond, 2 bigs. As I mentioned on this fine program, that we're going to be dominant playing basketball together. And Andre Drummond only won Eastern Conference Player of the Week the first week that Blake Griffin joined the team. They need an outside shooter, a wing defender. He would provide that and would fit in really well with that squad.
So, DeAndre Jordan's sort of been on the block, but he hasn't gone anywhere, and they seem to be asking a lot for him, and teams don't necessarily want to take him in because then they would have to be forced to a decision of whether or not they're going to sign him to an extension at the end of next year. They're sort of, if you trade assets for DeAndre Jordan, you're committing yourself to DeAndre Jordan for quite some time. But the Cavs offered their first-round pick, not the Nets, and like a Tristan Thompson type of a thing for him. Could you ever see that happening at the deadline?
I cannot see that happening at the deadline because Tristan Thompson has multiple years remaining on his contract. And the Clippers just traded away a player affiliated with a Jenner. They're not going to acquire a player affiliation with a Kardashian.
That's fair.
It's just not going to happen.
I don't think the Cavs are really going to do anything. Like, I think the Cavs and Dan Gilbert and LeBron are obviously at odds with each other. And I think that Dan Gilbert's looking at LeBron like, if you're not going to do anything, then I'm not going to do anything. This is your team that we put together with your guys, your Banana Boat brother, Dwayne Wade, all of these clutch sports guys. This is your team. You go out there and win a championship for us. And LeBron's like, all right, whatever.
And also, I talk about skill bigs, ones that can dribble, pass, and shoot, and or shoot with range, mid-range and or three-point shots. And will bigs, those that get blocks, get boards, give me hustle plays, run, jump, and dunk. That was Tristan Thompson when he's playing at an elite level. Tyson Chandler's falls in that vein. DeAndre Jordan is the best of those bigs. But if you look at the landscape of the league, it's moving away from the DeAndre Jordan caliber player. Look at the top teams. The Boston Celtics, their big man is Al Horford, leads them in assists.
Yep.
And rebounds. Look at the Golden State Warriors. Draymond Green leads them in rebounds and assists. Look at the Detroit Pistons. You have a Andre Drummond that's has a career high in assists, still gets boards. Look at a Clint Capella in Houston. He has ball skills. I just saw him do a 1-2 step from the free throw line off a catch and finish at the hoop. And so even the younger bigs, Whiteside, you could throw it to him on the post. Joel Embiid, you could throw it to him on the post. Rudy Gobert, you could throw it to him on the post. The other will big that I really like that falls along the lines of DeAndre Jordan.
Who's that?
Is Steven Adams.
I love Steven Adams. Don't take my guy.
He has other players around him that while you're not going to post him up, he got a lefty hook. He got a righty hook. He still gives me those energy plays. So DeAndre, there is a place for him, but I just don't see it in Cleveland, especially moving forward if they're planning on ultimately winning a championship again.
I want to talk about Steven Adams a little bit because he's an underappreciated big in the league. He definitely is. He's never going to make an all-star team. He's not going to make an all-NBA team, but there's a reason that Steven Adams is always in the middle of some of those hold me back moments. There's a reason Steven Adams is always getting somebody a tech because he's pissing them off or whatever. Because Steven Adams is the guy you don't want covering you. He's so physical. If you just watch what he does, even on a made shot from his teammate, he's always pushing the other bigs around, jostling for offensive rebound position. He plays every second of every single play, and he's got hands. He's got great, great hands. When they had him and Cantor in the front court, I would say that those are some of the best. That was the best combination of finishing bigs in the league. Like, you could throw him a bad pass at his knees and he finishes it easy. Left hand, right hand, offensive rebounds, slapping the ball out and continuing possessions. Steven Adams is undervalued, and he is like one of the reasons that team goes. I think if you asked the Thunder, would you rather have Steven Adams or Carmelo Anthony, they would say Steven Adams, no doubt.
Again, best will bigs in the league. Steven Adams, DeAndre Jordan. But there's a big fall off after that. And no shots at Melo. He's already put up a Hall of Fame career, and when he gets going, he can still get going with the best of them. But right now, the pecking order in OKC, he's their fourth best player, and that's what makes their team go.
So when you name the best will bigs in the league, there's a name I thought you left off, which is an interesting sort of like thing. Clint Capella, to me, is a will big who's like developing into a skill big. Like, they're not posting up Clint Capella. It's not what they do on offense, but they're not like, hey, let's post up Clint Capella. Let's get him the ball. We need to run the offense through Clint Capella. But I would say a year ago, he was definitely a will big, and now he's grown into a skill big. Would you say that's a fair assessment?
Absolutely. And I remember having this conversation with Andre Drummond. The exact same thing. You could go either way based on your skill set. And I agree with you. Clint Capella, though Mike D'Antoni's system isn't to post up any players, has shown that he has ball skills and the ability to make plays that are other than just catch lobs and dunk.
So you had, but I'm going to be honest, everybody knows that you've owned it yourself. You had some bad teeth when you were in college, right?
Absolutely.
You had some bad teeth.
I shook David Stern's hand and went straight to the dermatologist. And went straight to the dentist.
Andre Drummond has done something that's really improved his game. And I never make fun of people for things they can't control. But he had a real shoulder hair problem. And I've noticed this year, he's either shaving, waxing, or got the laser treatment. Which one do you think he got?
I think he's shaving. I don't think that he's got the laser treatment.
I think he's got to get the laser treatment.
I'll be at the game on the 12th. I'll ask him.
Ask him. You going to the game on the 12th? You can invite your friend Jacoby.
I don't think you want to take a red eye to Detroit just to watch one regular season basketball game.
I'll be flying back from New York. It's a quick stop, halfway.
Let's get it.
We can work something out.
Let's get it.
We can work something out. We have a lot of conversations off wax about how we only really talk about 4 teams. We always talk about the Cavs, even though they're not good. We always talk about the Warriors. We always talk about the Celtics. And we always talk about the Rockets. Well, guess what? There are more than 4 teams in the NBA. And some of those teams got hot. And one of those teams I know you have a particular affinity for, and that is a team named the Pistons.
Detroit basketball!
Since acquiring Blake Griffin, the Pistons are 4-0. With Blake Griffin in the lineup, they are 3-0. This seems to be working. Last night, they beat the brakes off the Blazers. I watched the entire game, and I was very impressed with the Pistons' performance. Jalen, what is it about this team that seems to be gelling with the acquisition of Griffin?
They have two guys on the interior playing the 4 and 5 position that could do something really noble as you talk about a basketball player. They have ball skills.
What?
They both can pass.
Yes.
They both dribble for their position. They both can score against a mismatch. They both can finish in transition and in the half court. They do a really good job of playing high-low basketball, feeding one another, feeding teammates. The energy level of the Detroit Pistons has improved a lot, led by Andre Drummond, who by no coincidence won Eastern Conference Player of the Week as the Pistons, you mentioned, gone 4-0 since making a big trade.
I'm not a huge plus-minus guy, but since Blake's debut, when Drummond and Blake are on the floor, they're both plus 36. Now, they're knocking on the door of the playoffs. It seems like they're going to get in. But my question is this, can you see them upgrading the roster even just a little bit as we head towards the trade deadline?
I can see them upgrading their roster. And again, being a Pistons fan, I love Tobias Harris. He gave all he could to the team, and you know Avery Bradley's one of my guys. But you have to do what you can to make sure the anchor of your squad is able to perform. And you're building around Andre, now you're building around Blake Griffin. You must get a wing now that can shoot the three, that can defend this position, somebody that they can now use as an outlet when the defense continues to collapse on their playmaking abilities.
If they pick up my guy Rodney Hood, I'm officially a Pistons fan. Moving on to a team that absolutely no one is talking about and no one has noticed is on a 6-game win streak. The Utah Jazz have been on fire. Ricky Rubio has been balling with his terrible hair. They have these terrible uniforms. They beat the Warriors. They've beaten the Spurs. The Jazz are hot. However, they're only 25-28 and sit right now in about the 10th spot in the West. Could this be for real? Could they climb into contention for the 7th or 8th seed in the Western Conference?
No, they can't. They won't be a playoff team in the Western Conference. But shout to Rudy Gobert, the Stifle Tower.
Yep.
Who's going to give them activity down low, shot blocking, rebounding, and also able to score the basketball. But this is all about Donovan Mitchell. When you draft the way they did in the first round, you take a guy that's now leading the team in scoring, that's had a couple of 40-point games, shoots the three, does it off the bounce, does it in half court, does it full court, has shown that he now has staying power to continue to get buckets in this league. It's been really impressive to watch so far this year.
I wouldn't be surprised if they contend for the 8th seed. I could see them climbing over the Pelicans. I could see the Clippers maybe making a trade and saying we don't even want to make the playoffs. I could see it happening, Utah. I have faith in the Jazz. I am taking note until they start losing, and then I'm going to jump off the bandwagon because that's what I do.
Such a die easy
That's what
fan.
I do, Jalen. We all know this. Moving on to a team that we all kind of wrote off. They weren't playing well to start the season, talking about the Wizards here, and then they lost John Wall. Well, guess what? They lost John Wall, and they haven't lost since. They are now on about a 5-game win streak, and they just can't seem to lose without Wall. Bradley Beal has stepped up. Here they are beating the Pacers last night without Victor Oladipo. Jalen, is this addition by subtraction?
You know how faithful I am to my my no slander list.
Who's on it?
John Wall is on that
Come on.
list.
This list is too long. I'm tired of this list.
So for everybody that want to look into the stats and facts and analytics,
why would you do that?
To think this basketball team is better overall without John Wall, you need to be drug tested. Now, with that being said, you know how much I love Bradley Beal.
I know you do.
And you know how much I really love the movie Paid in Full. And when he dropped Everybody Eating, oh man, that's classic material. They're sharing the basketball. More people are feeling good about themselves. And I tell you, that basketball is a magnet. It has energy.
Energy?
It has electricity.
Electricity?
And when I hold it, guess what?
What happens?
Everybody's looking at me. Everybody watching on TV. All of the fans. The coaches trust me.
I want
the
a basketball.
teammates trust me with the ball.
I want a basketball right now.
Man, I feel better about myself. And that's what I'm seeing in Washington right now.
Now, you know, I pay attention to all the trade rumors and blah, blah, blah. There are some little whispers and rumblings about them being interested in DeAndre Jordan. Could you ever see that happening?
I can see that happening. That's what they need.
Yep.
The Washington Wizards need size, height, somebody that can catch lobs, finish in transition, block shots, anchor the middle in the Eastern Conference. You're going to hear so many teams that possibly are in the running for DeAndre Jordan. And as you mentioned, the national media really only talks about 5 teams and 7 players. DeAndre Jordan would fit perfectly with the Washington Wizards, especially since Marcin Gortat has the nerve to take shots at John Wall. Oh, man, I'm pretty sure they're ready to get him up out of there.
Jalen Rose, social media is such a big part of our lives now. It's something that's unavoidable. It's how we communicate. It's how we learn things. It's important to all of us. But sometimes it gets socially awkward. First on the list of socially awkward athletes is a gentleman by the name of Antonio Brown. You might remember Antonio Brown. He was in the MVP race. He was breaking records. Well, he posted this. James Harrison, tell your guy Tom Brady, I know he lost his trainer, so if you want to get those hands right, hit me up this offseason. Hashtag grab that. Jalen, if you lost to the Jaguars in the playoffs and didn't even get a chance to play against the Patriots, are you allowed to take shots?
Yes, you are, because that's his former teammate, Debo. And actually, hindsight could be 20/20. And in this case, he had more snaps in one game for the New England Patriots that ended up making it to the Super Bowl than he did the entire season for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Number one. Number two, I like what Antonio Brown did here. Look deeper into it. He took shots at the Patriots. Number one, I see you lost your trainer.
Yep.
Number two, your quarterback didn't have hands. 3, you guys didn't win. So you left us to go win the Super Bowl, and you came up short. And I know that they both got love for each other because I'm pretty sure that AB do not want to get grappling and locked up with the big fella.
No one does.
In any way, shape, or form.
No one does. Well, Antonio Brown wasn't the only one taking shots at the Patriots. Brandon Browner, a former Patriot, had this to say about the odd benching of Malcom Butler.
For weed, for curfew, man, do y'all history, man. Patriots a team to give cats second chances. Like every job, like there's always favorites, you feel me? And little bro wasn't a favorite.
What's more interesting about this is some other posts that he posted about Butler were liked by current and former Patriots. What do you think about Browner's theory about Butler being benched for weed and curfew?
Those sound like pretty big allegations that, if proven, deserve a level of discipline. And how you handle situations in the past, to me, become a precursor of how you feel you should handle things moving forward. And how I see this from the outside looking in is Bill Belichick has established that I'm the greatest coach of all time. I put together some of the greatest dynasty scenarios that the league has seen. This is how we're going to do things or else. So when players violate that, there has to be a level of punishment. Unfortunately, for Patriot players and their fans, it happened in the Super Bowl. But here's the other thing about being a former player.
What's that?
What about the guy that's going to come out and say, man, dog, that was the wrong time to miss curfew. Hey, dog, come on, man. You can't be blowing for the Super Bowl.
Blowing before the Super Bowl? Like, another thing is, if I'm Bill Belichick, I'm like, listen, you violated team rules. I'm always consistent. You are going to miss a game. Preseason next year because we need you in the Super Bowl. That's what I'm doing if I'm Bill Belichick. I'm consistent. You will not play in one game next year's preseason because right now we need you in the Super Bowl in Minneapolis. Malcom Butler, put your helmet on, get out there. This is probably the most socially awkward an athlete got. This is Juju Schuster. And I think he's reacting to the news that Kendall Jenner had a baby. He wrote, yo, or the Kylie, the other one had a baby. Yo, so Kendall Jenner, we got next, right? God's plan. Juju Schuster is essentially, reading between the lines, proposing to impregnate Kendall Jenner, who may or may not be dating Blake Griffin. This has got awkward written all over it, Jalen.
Well, if she was not dating someone else who happens to be a professional athlete, I just think that it's a rude way for him to approach her as a woman.
You think so?
Because it's just not a respectful way to come at her. it's the reason why we don't call our WCW crush anymore, because it's can be deemed as being overt and or sexist. You don't try to engage in conversation with somebody else with a sexual overtone. And it just so happens that she's in a relationship with someone else. And I think that's rude and that's disrespectful. It just so happens to be somebody that's in the public eye just like he is in Blake Griffin.
It's always one of those things. We don't know if Blake and Kendall are dating or whatever, but it's always one of those things where it's like, look, if you saw her in the street, you would never walk up to her and said, hey, Kendall, nice to meet you. I'm Juju. Do you mind if I impregnate you? Like, it's just rude. It's disrespectful. It's too far. How about starting with hi? You know, Juju, you can just start with hi. And very quickly, I always like a nice competitive post. I always like when people get petty. And Jay Ajayi, he got petty on Instagram. He posted a picture of himself in the Lombardi Trophy with the caption, they might have tried to discredit you, discount you, throw dirt on your name. Third person. None of it matters now. Legacies last forever. Funny how they were gassed over journalistic. Look at me now. And he capitalized Gase in gassed. What's awkward about this is he reached so far to mention Adam Gase. He should have just mentioned his name. There's no reason to say gassed over journalistic. It's not even a sentence. It's not even a sentence, all right? Just say his name. You don't got to imply it. You don't got to subtweet. Just say his name. That is socially awkward. Jalen Rose, not everything is worth talking about in the world of sports and pop culture, so we filter through the gold. Let's keep it moving.
We be moving, you know we keep it moving.
If it's worth talking about, you say hit the brakes. If it's not, we will keep it moving. Jalen Rose, the Lakers are not focusing on this offseason when LeBron James is available. They're focusing on the 2019 offseason. Keep it moving or hit the brakes?
Hit the brakes.
Ramona Shelburne and the Woj are reporting that the Lakers are focusing on the 2019 offseason where the free agents include Kawhi Leonard, Klay Thompson, and Jimmy Butler. What does this tell you that they're giving us this information?
The reason why they're getting this information is I took a lot of flack a couple of weeks ago. And by no means do I want to live in a world where Kawhi Leonard doesn't play for the San Antonio Spurs. As a matter of fact, I'm imploring free agents to go run with him in Pop. I'm also imploring the media to promote that as opposed to promoting players to go play in large markets all of the time. But one of the things that came out of that conversation is if he doesn't sign his extension this summer, it does tell you something.
Ooh.
And for the Lakers, what it tells you in 2018 that they're not going after the big name free agents is they don't feel like they're getting anybody.
That's what it tells me. It tells me that they're like, you know what? We're probably not getting LeBron. So let's manage our fan base's expectations and tell them that we don't even want LeBron. We're not focused on that. We're focused on these other players that are up in 2019.
And also not getting Paul George. Possibly not getting DeMarcus Cousins.
Another great point, Jalen Rose. Moving on, Donovan Mitchell will replace Aaron Gordon in the dunk contest. Keep it moving or hit the brakes?
Keep it moving. Looking forward to see the young fella do work.
Keep it moving.
The Eagles won the Super Bowl. The fans took to the streets, and one fan celebrated in the grossest possible way. Keep it moving or hit the brakes?
Hit the brakes. Told you guys Brandon Graham was going to make the play, represent Detroit.
I cannot set up this video with real words. Let's just watch this human being devour feces from a horse. I understand you're excited that your team won the Super Bowl. I understand climbing up poles. I understand jumping on top of cars. I even understand flipping cars. But why would you eat horse poop just because your team won the Super Bowl?
I have one direct word that can be followed by exclamation point. Cultural.
On behalf of the Caucasians, I apologize. Moving on. Zach Lowe says the Warriors are going to try to beef up their bench at the trade deadline. Keep it moving or hit the brakes?
Keep it moving.
We be moving, you know we keep it moving.
Gronkowski's house was broken into during the Super Bowl. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Keep it moving. He's not going to retire. I would trade Gronk.
Bulls center Robin Lopez lost his mind last night in the game. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Please hit the brakes.
Okay. In last night's game against the Sacramento Kings, Robin Lopez had to be held back from going after a referee, and then security got involved. He was gesticulating. Here he is in the tunnel, and he does a Bobby Knight and throws the chair. Jalen Rose, did he go a little too far?
He went way too far. Not only is it disrespectful, but it's unprofessional. Show the level of being undisciplined. He's definitely not only going to be fined by the NBA, $50,000, but he's also going to be suspended for a game for that behavior. Just can't behave in that manner.
And here's the thing. It's another one of those examples of refs missing a call. Yes. Did the refs miss a call on the other end? Yes. Did the refs call a ticky-tack foul on the defensive end? Yes. That's fact and fact. However, you're overreacting. I understand why you're upset. You got hit while you took a shot, and they called a ticky-tack foul on you right after that. That would make anybody upset. But there's no need to react in this manner. Like, people always say, oh, there's problems with the refs, and the refs are making bad calls, and now the refs and the players have beef, and we need to have a meeting and solve this. There's no meeting that needs to be had. You just need to act a little less childish. That's all. I
wish all of the videos of individuals getting texts were used as teaching points in the community at the end of the year to show young people how to deal with adversity and how to deal with situations that don't necessarily go their way, and also to show the players the visual of how that really looks.
We say we give the people what they want. Part of giving the people what they want is listening to your voicemails. If you call 985-80-JALEN, we'll play voicemails on the show. However, tomorrow, as always, is Women's Wednesday. Women's Wednesday, where every Wednesday we take exclusively female voicemails. Ladies!
Hey, ladies!
Make sure you call 985-80-JALEN and leave us voicemails. We'll play them on the show tomorrow. Today, we've got the fellas. First voicemail right now. Brad?
Yo, what up? It's your boy Big Crown right here. Shout out to everybody. Reg, the whole team, Uncle Mar, Lobster Statue, Matthias, the whole team, the whole squad, all those executive producers. Yo, Jalen, I got a question, man. I'm not going to tell you where I heard this from, man, but I heard on the countdown set, you got, bags of popcorn, a crazy mix, you know what I'm saying? You got deep-fried turkeys with aluminum foil, keeping it cultural. What's up with your diet, man? I thought you was keeping it slim for 2018, man. Let me know what up. Peace.
I love this question.
Thank you for the call. We appreciate the love. Always like the fact that people shout out our crew as well as other associate producers. With that being said, I'm going to bring you behind the curtain. Yes, when I'm watching sporting events, just like most fans, I like to eat munchies.
Yep.
My favorite happens to be popcorn. When I'm in an arena, I don't like necessarily the popcorn that's being served by that venue. When I'm watching games for NBA Countdown, it's 8 or 9 TVs. There's a movie theater right across the street. No popcorn is better than movie theater popcorn.
Jalen will eat a large popcorn himself from the movie theater.
No question. Walk right across the street, get the popcorn. Initially, they were looking at me crazy because I'm the only individual walking in there getting popcorn and not going to the movie.
That's cute,
man. And then all of a sudden, people witnessed the fact that I was getting 2 with extra butter, 1 for me and 1 for everybody else. And yes, I like deep fried turkey. And here's the thing. Have you ever sat back and wondered, why am I only eating this once a year when I really like it?
And one thing I want to say about Jalen, and I always say mean things about Jalen on this program, Jalen always takes care of the staff. Jalen's brought food for the staff dozens of times. He's had fried turkeys brought to the Countdown staff twice in the past 2 weeks. But our caller touched on something I want to talk about. Somehow you eat terribly but still lose weight. Because we were at an establishment watching the Pistons. You and I were watching the Pistons. My order was, and I'm trying to lose weight too. It's harder for me. I didn't play in the NBA. My order was kale and quinoa salad, no tomatoes, well done chicken breast chopped up. Jalen's order was French fries. Ate the French fries, then what did he order? What'd you order after that? More French fries.
I ordered crab legs also.
No, you ordered more French fries. We had French fries, and then you were like, I want more French fries. And another thing Jalen always does. Jacoby, you're going to eat some wings? Let's get 20 wings. Jacoby, you'll have some wings, right? And I have to say yes, because really he eats all the wings. I know how this goes. I don't know how you do it, but your metabolism is very high.
Here's what takes place. When I'm at home with Molly, I 100% am forced to do a couple of things. Work out and eat right.
Good for Molly.
When I'm in LA for Countdown,
that's
turkey. My chance to eat back.
French fries and fried turkey. Thank you so much for the call. Let's listen to another voicemail. Don't forget, ladies, call in 985-80-JALEN. Leave us calls for tomorrow.
Jalen! It's Kyle from Northwest California. I know you're excited about the Blake Griffin deal. Super quick question. I heard this on another podcast and just wanted to say, does a straw have one or two holes? I'm under the assumption that a straw has one hole, because think of it as a donut that's just really long. Because you wouldn't say a donut has two holes, you say a donut has one. But tell me what you think, guys. Have a good day. Peace.
That's a failed test, first of all.
It's
a great question, but it's a failed test.
That's one of those things when you're sitting up and you're having beverages and you're having other things that may allow you to fail a test, and you're like, wait a minute, look at that straw again.
Hey, come here. Yo, Steve, come here. Steve, come here. Does this straw look funny to you? How many holes does a straw have? I've seen this question posed on Twitter before, I believe. A straw has one hole.
Agreed.
Good question.
Just like a funnel.
We also have a Twitter, follow at Jalen and Jacoby. They sent us questions through that. First question from EB. Will it hurt LeBron if he doesn't end his career in Cleveland? No.
I don't think it hurts LeBron because he's already gone back, delivered a championship, will have his number retired, and he will get a statue outside of the building. But this time of the year, with trade deadline looming, I must just point a couple of things out real quick. You're going to hear the names. DeAndre Jordan, Lou Williams, who don't sleep, may end up in Denver. If I'm Boston, I may try to get him. George Hill, possibly with the Cavs. I think that's a lateral move. Tyreek Evans, who's already been put on ice into the trade. The problem is I don't think that helps his game because he's a downhill player that likes to get to the bucket. He's having a really good season. I think it's going to take him time in his new situation to get going after being sat down this last couple of weeks. Before Kevin Love got injured, there was a possibility that he and C.J. McCollum may switch spots. Portland just lost by 20 to the Detroit Pistons. Stay tuned on that. Head coaches in the league next year, potentially Mark Jackson, David Fizdale, Monty Williams. All broken news. You heard it here first.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if all three of those gentlemen had head coaching jobs next year. I really wouldn't be surprised. Now, we have a very important observation from James Benitez. Yesterday, the intro was perfect. Is Reggie getting replaced? Shout out to Brad, who's in for Reggie. Reggie's got the stomach flu. Reggie's been out for a couple days. He's hurting, so we just want to give a shout and a get better to the great.
Get well soon, Reg.
Reggie
the podcast is blowing up like never before, and if it wasn't for you, I would not have a wave in my head.
Let's listen to one more voicemail. Don't forget, ladies, call 985-80-JALEN. Leave us voicemails for tomorrow's show.
In May of last year, my car got stolen. Y'all helped me put it on blast and actually got my car back. Shout out to y'all. So, quick comment I want to make. I've been following the program since day one, okay? So, the broken news about the 1 through 16 playoff season, I've been with that since day one. Like, before this All-Star selection process change up, I definitely think that the 1 through 16 season is on the way. What do you guys think as far as the timeline for that? I'm thinking it'll be a good positive change for the league. Obviously, we already seen it with the All-Star game changing up. It's no longer East versus West. It's just the best. So let me know what you guys think on the timeline about that. Keep giving the people what they want. Keep getting them checks. And you got shot up in distance.
I love this caller for a lot of reasons. Number one, he's a supporter of the program. Number two, he got his car back. I don't know how you get a stolen car back. I've never heard of that before. I don't know how you get a stolen car back. But the main reason I love him, Jalen, because every time he makes a point, He then pauses and he talks like this. It's kind of like he's future rapping. He does a little pause thing, and then I'm going to toss it to you so you can talk about the 1 through 16 seeding.
I like him because there are big concerts that sell out venues, and the artist can put 70,000 people in the stands, and a lot of those individuals say words in the songs that they probably shouldn't be saying. One of them starts with an N. And then there are groups like us that go on Funk Flex like Black Thought and freestyle for 12 straight minutes before we take a breath. And people don't necessarily catch it, but those that do become lifetime supporters. And we appreciate being the boutique of podcasts and television shows. I would like to own something also. We talked about Show the Draft, and it gained steam, kind of like when Gordon Hayward was one of my guys, and then he became an all-star level player and a max level player, and it got away from us. Or when Jacoby said stretch mark 4, and I see other people using it for other positions, or Lance will make them dance. This is what we do here. Everybody that can hear my voice, please pull out your cell phone and at the NBA. Let them know you were listening to Jalen and Jacoby. The NBA playoffs need to be the best 16 teams.
It's going to happen.
If it is 11 from one conference, that's okay. It helps the balance of power for the 82-game regular season. It forces everybody to be competitive the entire time, and it gives us the best matchups. For example, the best teams in the NBA this year for me are the Golden State Warriors and the Houston Rockets. That should be the NBA Finals.
That should be the Finals. And they'll have the 2 best records, and if they handle business throughout the playoffs, which is never a given, that will be your NBA Finals. Would you rather see an NBA Finals with the Raptors and the Warriors? Would you rather see it with the Celtics and the Warriors? Would you rather see it with the Cavs and the Warriors? Would you rather see it with the Rockets and the Warriors? Answer the question.
I would rather see the Golden State Warriors and the Houston Rockets. And I also would rather see the best 16 teams in the NBA make the playoffs. We've stressed. The team in Washington that plays football, they're going to change their name.
Going to happen. Inevitable.
The team in Cleveland that played baseball did change their name.
Well, they changed their logo.
There's certain things that are going to take place. It just takes time. The NBA will eventually adopt a 1 through 16 seeding. Broken news for those that follow this fine program for years.
We always appreciate our podcast listeners. We'll always leave you with exclusive content on these. We're not just going to give you a recycled television show. Always giving the people what they want. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Don't forget to tell your friends to subscribe to the podcast. DVR series managed. Jalen and Jacoby support the show at 2 p.m. on ESPN2. We'll be back tomorrow with another dope pod and a special guest. That's a tease.
Got to give the people